Many in the West believe that terrorism and militancy are Pakistan's biggest problems. Actually, these are just symptoms of the main problem, which is lack of education. Pakistan spends only 2% of its GDP on education. That's less than many poorer countries in South Asia and even sub-Saharan Africa. Lack of education is a hindrance to development that needs to be addressed to improve long-term social and economic conditions. We believe that lack of education is Pakistan's biggest crisis. Of the millions that are born each year, only half will have access to any formal education. The remaining never even see the inside of a school. This education emergency threatens tens of millions of children. And that was the reason for setting up TCF, to provide schools and provide formal quality education to the masses. Our first objective is to continue building more of these schools to reach more of these children. So we'll continue building more schools in these urban slums and poor rural areas. We'll also start building secondary schools where we have already built primary schools so that these children can continue their education. Our second objective is to make sure that these schools stay running. There is absolutely no point in building schools if you're not going to keep them running. So getting the funds to make sure that they stay operational into the foreseeable future is our goal. And to do that, we're creating an endowment fund. And once this endowment fund is in place, it will make sure that these schools stay operational. Because of how poor the communities are that our schools are built in, it will be a long time before the impact of these schools raises the standard of living of these communities and they're able to sustain these schools on their own. The first leverage point that makes the TCF schools successful is that they're very well designed. That's critical to our success. In poorer communities in Pakistan, many people just take homes and convert them into schools. The TCF schools, on the other hand, were designed specifically to be schools. They have spacious classrooms, proper furniture, libraries, art rooms, laboratories, and all the essential facilities, including water, electricity, toilets, and play areas. We provide these services with scholarships and financial assistance. Tuition is based on a pay-as-you-can model. Books and uniforms are heavily subsidized. We promote women's employment by only hiring female staff. The female teachers encourage the enrollment of girls, promoting a balanced gender ratio. Female teachers and principals also provide an environment where boys learn to respect women as authority figures. Finally, TCF could not be effective without professional management. TCF is one of the few nonprofits in Pakistan that is professionally managed by a highly dedicated staff. This allows us to maintain a high standard over a huge geographic area. TCF runs its schools as a system. It's kind of like the McDonald's approach. We wanted to make sure that all our schools meet the same standard. To do that, we created a very effective monitoring and evaluation system for all our programs. All aspects of the school, including the performance of the faculty and members of the administration, are evaluated on the basis of set criteria. This performance evaluation helps us to continuously upgrade our systems. Even in the area of teacher training, the training we provide to our existing teachers, the in-service training, it also has a portion where it's continuously providing feedback to improve the training of the teachers. This in-service training is conducted every summer and keeps our existing faculty abreast with the latest trends in teaching. As a public charity, TCF has a professional management and a very high standard of governance. This means low administration costs and high transparency, which in turn results in greater donor trust. Success for TCF means reaching more and more poor children with better and better education. From 5 schools in Karachi in 1995, TCF has expanded to 910 purpose-built schools with 126,000 students in 97 towns and cities all across Pakistan. Nearly 50% of the TCF student body is female, compared to 40% for the rest of the country. 2 other ways in which we measure success are our pass rates for the matriculation exam and the percentage of our students that move on to higher education. TCF can proudly state that our students far exceed the national averages. There were several myths about education in Pakistan. The first misconception we faced was that poor families would not send their children to school because they needed their labor to make ends meet. Instead, TCF assumed that if their children were getting a high quality and relevant education, even the poorest parents would be willing to forego the child's income. Our rapid enrollment growth has shown that this was true. Another misconception was that conservative families would refuse to send their girls to school. TCF believed that providing a safe atmosphere could make even the most conservative family feel secure about this. The primary building block for providing this safe, secure environment is the all-female faculty, teachers and principals in our schools. TCF has succeeded in maintaining close to a 50% gender ratio, and our teachers have been excellent role models for the girls, over 200 of whom have returned to TCF as teachers, and these are some of our most dedicated teachers. TCF has established over 900 high-quality schools in the heart of urban slums and poor rural areas all over the nation. We enroll over 126,000 students, many of whom would have never received an education if not for TCF. Our schools maintain a balanced gender ratio with close to 50% female students. Additionally, we have created more than 9,000 jobs, of which more than 6,000 are female faculty positions. We've established an extensive teacher training program for providing the necessary skills to new teachers and for updating the skills of existing teachers. Finally, our nonprofit governance rating is top-notch. As a 2013 winner of the Skoll Foundation Award for Social Entrepreneurship, TCF has been recognized for its innovative approach to solving the problem of access to education in Pakistan. TCF is also amongst the highest scoring organizations certified by the Pakistan Center for Philanthropy. With 25 million out-of-school children, Pakistan is unlikely to achieve the 2015 Millennium Development Goals of universal primary education for another 85 years. National literacy is at 57%, and female literacy in low-income communities is below 40%. There's a dearth of safe, accessible, and affordable schools for the poor. Girls especially have trouble physically, culturally, and financially accessing schools. Pakistan's parliament passed the 18th Amendment declaring education a fundamental right. However, the state has failed to deliver mass education due to mismanagement and corruption. 8% of state-run schools are fictional. They only exist on paper. 16% operate without a school building. 40% have no water, 60% no toilets, and 79% no electricity. Teacher absenteeism contributes to high dropout rates, with only 2 out of 10 children reaching 5th grade. Low financial returns and a shortage of qualified teachers keeps private for-profit schools from serving the low-income communities. With additional resources, TCF will be able to reach more children. We will do this by building more schools in the communities where we already have a presence. We would go to communities where we have not established a presence yet and build schools there. We would build secondary schools for our children where they're graduating out of our primary schools. We would be able to build more schools in the earthquake-prone zones of northern Pakistan, where it costs twice as much to build a school than it does in the rest of the country. We would also take some of our best programs, like the mentoring program, like maybe expand health care to our children, maybe nutrition. So there's a lot to be done, and we have a long list of things we can do with your support. TCF would like to maximize its impact beyond its own school network, potentially reaching more of the 25 million out-of-school children. TCF's school model and programs are scalable as well as replicable. We would like to develop a nonprofit franchise model, TCF in a box. TCF would offer its education and management materials to the public and the low-cost private education sector without any franchise fee or any other markup. This would create more schools with TCF's high standard of administrative performance and educational achievements all across Pakistan. Along the same lines, we would leverage TCF's capabilities by offering non-TCF schools an external examination service for primary schools. This would create publicly available benchmarks for school performance. We would also provide teacher training using our training curriculum at schools outside the TCF network. Another idea is delivering teacher training programs using distant learning to reduce travel expenditures, not only for trainers, but also for the trainees.